you know, just to engage you, not necessarily to impress you, but to engage you. I'm sure that many of you, when you saw the horrific events going on, and then listening to the newscast and watching those people wade through that water and seeing people being stranded and babies threatening with death, and I'm sure you thought to yourself, oh yes, that's what Pastor Manning has been preaching. The black man's going to die. And it did look like that. But really, Katrina was a blessing to the black man. He's been set free. He doesn't know it, but he's been set free. God said to me to say this. God said to me to say this. There are going to be a lot of people like Larry King and a whole lot of other people, Oprah Winfrey and whatever her name is, will be calling and sitting people down on their couches and across from their desks and their microphones, and they're going to ask these people to explain what took place with Katrina. And they're going to call people like Deepak Chopra and Rick Warren, Purpose Driven Life, and Franklin Graham, Gravy Train Rider. And then they're going to call all of the associates and disciples of those people in their classes and in their proper order. Preachers and leaders. I heard the young interviewer on CNN yesterday talking with the Reverend Joseph Lowry of the SCLC. He doesn't have a clue. I don't even know if he's awake. It looked like he's suffering from Alzheimer's to me, but he doesn't have a clue. God said to me to say this: if these men cannot tell you where the hurricane came from, then they can't tell you how to solve the problem. They don't know. You're asking, well, was that an act of God? They'll start humming and hawing and, well, you know, God's sovereign will and God's permissive will. They don't know what they're talking about. Yes, it was God's will. It was his loving will to send that hurricane in. You say, well, people died. That's negligible when you compare the number of people that will die if God doesn't send hurricanes into the Caribbean. But see, no man is going to explain that. And God says if they don't know that, then they don't know me. And if they don't know me, no point in listening to them. And I would advise you just in general, don't listen to people like Deepak Chopra, Rick Warren, and Franklin Graham. Those men are psychiatrists or psychologists, if you will, and they've got something to prove. They're out to sell something. And a large part of the problem with black folk today is that they're listening to the wrong people in terms of what it is that they need to hear. So they don't have an idea. They don't have a clue. The final thing I'd like to do today in terms of talking about this hurricane being an act of God, being a blessing of God, Katrina being a blessing, and beyond that, what you saw on your television screens. When they went into that Superdome, I knew then that there was trouble. The reports came out. There's one police officer, New Orleans police officer, he's a sergeant, his name is Joel Silva, gave an interview yesterday. And he was stationed at one of the local colleges where people were being sheltered. And when the helicopters arrived, he said, we thank God that the helicopters arrived, but our major problem is that we had to beat back the men because they tried to get on the helicopters before the women did. We literally had to beat them. And then that black police officer said this. He said, you know, we got a whole lot of black men that ain't nothing but cowards. They're just sick to your stomach when you look at a black man. Now, I won't say something just to get y'all upset. Many of y'all got your sons, your grown son. If that boy is over 17 years old and still living in your house, unless he is going to college and still living in your house, you are a wicked parent. You are a wicked parent. You are wicked. You are wicked. You are wicked to let that man, grown man, lay up in your house. He ought to get his own house. But black men were trying to get on the copters. They don't care nothing about the women or the babies. I've been saying it all along. Black men, they are despicable. And they've been trained to be that way by your preachers and by your leaders. They are a despicable lot. They killed one man out in front of the convention center because he tried to rape a 13-year-old girl, and the people just couldn't take it no more. They stomped him until they stomped the life out of him. They murdered. People are trying to keep themselves shelter from the storm, and you got black men in the shelter shooting and raping and maiming. What is wrong with y'all? Who is it that has taught y'all to be? Y'all are a despicable, despisable group. You are wicked, incorrigible people. You black people, you are cursed and incorrigible. And there's no hiding it. I don't care what your leaders say. And then here come Carol Moseley Braun and all the black pundits blaming George Bush. Bush ain't had nothing to do with the fact how wicked y'all are, killing one another. People are trying to survive, and they can't even lay down without being raped by some old no good, low life black man. You know, it would seem to me, okay, here we are, 10,000 strong, women and children. We're all huddled together. Like Zora Neale Hurston's, their eyes were watching God as that hurricane came through. It would seem to me that the men would establish a bulwark. All right, here's what we're going to do. Put 100 men over here, 100 men by the bathrooms, 100 men by the door, 100 men to take a boat and go out and alert the Coast Guard. We're going to have men selling this. We're going to establish how to run the bathrooms. We're going to set up a food line. We're going to set up security. We're going to make sure there's plenty of water. We're going to go out. We're going to establish a structure in here so that we can live. We are men defending our women and our children. That's who we are, and that's what we're going to do. And when the cavalry would have arrived, they would have found it all as well, because the black woman is in the hand of the black man. You despicable group of people, you African, you Jesse Jackson, you process head Al Sharpton, you are a despicable group of people. You are rotten through and through. You need the Lord. And you need me. You know, rather they're shooting one another. Men are outwardly raping young girls right by their mothers. Is that what you call the soul, brother? Is that what your dreadlocks stand for? Is that what your black and proud is all about? But it would seem to me that there would have been organization, that there would have been structure, and that the reports would have been reports of valor, that you would have heard reports of people, men rising to the top to be men. Whose churches do these men go to? Who are their leaders? Who are their preachers? Well, who? Tell me. Somebody help me. But you say you're black. Is that right? And you don't like Pastor Manny. Is that right? You say you don't. You know, the President Bush, I admire him. I think he's a good leader. And I know that ticks y'all off. I know it does. But they're going to blame him for Katrina. They're going to say he didn't do enough fast enough. Can I say this to you? God was in control in New Orleans, not the president. The cavalry couldn't get in till God let them in. God. The army couldn't get in till God opened the door. God, he didn't act too late. They ain't never seen nothing like this. 9/11 they can handle. The Iraqi war they can handle. They'd never seen anything like this. This was the hand of God, and they couldn't get in there till God let them in. He just let them in the other day. They would have been in before, but they couldn't get in. God had so set that thing up that nobody knew what to do. Nobody knew what to do. Finally, God had mercy, and he opened the door, and they came in. But when they came in, they found a black man true to himself.